So Hal and I had a really nice one night away at the Aman in New York. My parents were looking after Trip and we went there and like we spotted up. I had literally the best massage of my life. And we also spent time going through our 2025 in review and our 2026 goals. And there was one thing that we spent most of our time actually talking about. So we still are yet, at the time of this recording, we're yet to actually finish the conversation of 2026 micro action steps to get the big goals that we have for this year. So a little hot tip, make sure you don't just write down big goals like, oh, I want to, I don't know, be on Forbes 30 under 30. We'll get to that in a second. If you don't have micro goals, if you don't have benchmarks to set yourself throughout the year, I've got a lot I want to share with you guys in this episode. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet because I actually also need to pack as we are leaving to go skiing tomorrow. And as you can hear by the sounds of things, probably I'm congested because I've been sick the last 2 days, but I have to get this episode out. So here we are. We are dolled up. We are good to go. Also, why did in the previous 2 episodes, if you watched the video, was my hair brunette? I will say my hair right now is not peaking. The postpartum hair regrowth is absolutely horrendous. I look like a baby that is growing new hair because that's literally what it is. And like, I can't do a slicked up bun when my hair is like a bit greasy to like look chic because all you see is the hair that's just growing through. And so I literally have to have my hair done every day like this and wear it out to semi hide it. But if you actually can kind of still see it up the top here. Anyway. So total side note, literally messaged my colorist being like, I need to see you ASAP because I am verging on brunette and the world is not a good place to be in when Monica is verging on brunette. Anyway, I've not been outside enough. That's not why we're on today's episode. Today's episode is here because I want to talk to you guys about how to use the year of the fire horse, not just the horse, the fire horse to your advantage. I want to talk about the year, the fact that this year is a 1 in numerology and what that means in terms of masculine and feminine. But I also want to talk about what to do when you didn't get what you wanted to manifest in 2025 with my own personal story with that as something that I did not manifest. Okay, so the first thing, as I was kind of saying, if you have not done this, you need to go back and do this for 2025 in order to make 2026 the best year yet. And the reason being for this, and this really goes for any area of life, if you are serious about becoming a better version of yourself, it requires reflection. So even when it comes to like dating, have you actually ever sat down and really reflected on why the previous relationship didn't work? And if the answer is no, then it's unlikely that you're going to see a benefit, an improvement in the next relationship. So we also need to do this when it comes to our goals. And so you want to just, you don't want to just be looking at the macro things. You also want to be looking at the micro things. Because as Hal and I were going through our reflection, it was really clear that yes, there were some of the big things that were massive highs, like the birth of our son and the fact that it was the dream home birth and we didn't end up going to hospital and it all ended up being the way that we wanted it to be. That was like the biggest high, New York Times bestseller, blah, blah, blah. But as we kind of got into it, there were also some smaller moments that really were highs, or they brought happiness to us, or we felt just like we were vibing. This has been a hard year for Hal because he's had these really bad back issues. He's had stem cell surgery. He's been in and out of a lot of procedures to try and get this back sorted. And so, when I'm like, okay, what about our trip to Paris when Trip was 8 weeks old? Like, was that a high? And it was like, yes, but he was in agonizing pain. So we couldn't have a nice family breakfast together because he would have to like pace the hotel because he couldn't sit down and whatnot. And so it was interesting because obviously some of my highs were not his highs, even though we were together doing the same things. But not just was it a high, but what did that quote unquote high actually bring you? And so, for example, like the travel with Trip, it brought me happiness, it brought me creativity, it brought me spaciousness, it brought me support. Like I've talked about this on, I don't know whether I think it's an Instagram post or something or other, but we went to Europe when Trip was 8 weeks old, and I will forever say that was such a good move. Like if you're going to have a baby this year and you don't have a lot of family to help support you, or even if you do, but it's only for a certain amount of time, go on a trip. Because, obviously, if you're staying at like a 5-star resort or even maybe a 4-star, but if you go somewhere where you have hotel staff to help you. You don't have to make your own food. You're not doing washing. You're not cooking. You're not cleaning. Like, that actually, as a mother now, is a holiday. Like, I know people say like, oh, going on a trip with your kids or a baby is not a holiday. And I'm like, the fact that I don't have to unload a dishwasher, make dinner, go to the grocery store, make my bed, it absolutely is a holiday. Like, the fact that I can just put my hand up and get a cup of tea brought to me, bitch, it's a holiday. So, what are some of those micro moments that brought you happiness? Because you want to do more of that this year. You want to ensure that you're doing more of what makes you happy and less of what makes you stressed, have sleepless nights, feel misaligned, like you and your partner are on the same wavelength. You want to obviously be doing less of that this year. All right, so let's now talk about what it means if you didn't get what you wanted or didn't get what you were manifesting in 2025. It doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that you will never get that manifestation. It doesn't mean that you weren't deserving of it or something. Don't see last year as this finite only opportunity to get X, Y, Z. So like, as an example, I've had on my vision board, and this didn't come true. This was the last year that it was possible for me to actually get this. And it was Forbes 30 under 30, because you have to be 29, like as the oldest age, when they come out. Because my birthday's in December and just after they come out, I can't apply again like next year, because I will be, even though when I apply, I would be under 30 when they come out or something. So like, I'll explain the details. It's too close to 30. And so I'm then not eligible for it. And this has been on my vision board for ages. And if I also really think about it, and I did a really good Instagram post on the difference between manifesting like from your ego and from your heart. I want us to actually, team, can we link that below? You need to go and listen to this. It was a really juicy nugget that came through on our trip to London. We were there around like just before Christmas time. I was doing the Her Year London event, which was absolutely amazing. If you haven't joined Her Year next year, you really need to make that a priority for many of the reasons we're going to go through today, but also for all the reasons that you've listened to in the podcast, the masculine structure, being in your feminine, not feeling overwhelmed, the mental load, all of it. But we were meant to go to the Cotswolds, and I've always wanted to go to the Cotswolds. Like, it's been on the list for a very, very long time. Long story short, you can listen to the nugget that we'll link below. We didn't end up going based on my decision. We had the trip planned, the hotel organized, like it was all there, but it no longer actually felt like I was saying yes from alignment. It was like saying yes to it because I would tick something else off my list that I'd quote unquote manifested, right? So it's really important to actually think about sometimes, and not always before you write down the manifestation, because like, dream big, baby. Okay. Dream big. But when you're even entertaining the idea that you should beat yourself up for something that you quote unquote didn't manifest, is that the only way that you could, for example, achieve success, right? So like, we'll use the Forbes 30 under 30. People will think that by getting on Forbes 30 under 30, like you've made it or you're more successful or whatever it is. Well, I know people that have been on Forbes 30 under 30 and it hasn't actually necessarily changed the trajectory of their career or brought them more happiness or made them feel more deeply fulfilled in their heart. I actually know some people where it's not that has brought them the opposite, but they're still having this feeling of something is missing in their life and they're not happy with their home life and blah, blah, blah. So we need to remember that just because you get this, accolade doesn't mean that you're then going to get the feeling that you're after. So for me, I wanted Forbes 30 under 30 because, that would then mean XYZ about my success and my business and my impact in the world and blah, blah, blah. But that's not the only way for me to make the impact that I want in the world, to have a successful business. And really, it's just actually a form of validation. Like, it is just a stroke to your ego at the end of the day. And so when I didn't get it, like, I actually already intuitively knew I wasn't going to get it. But when they came out and I wasn't on the list, I wasn't even disappointed because, well, one, I already intuitively knew, but two, it was like, well, that's not the only way that I can make the impact that I want to in the world and have the business growth that I want to in the world. Like, it really doesn't necessarily do anything. Another example, I did manifest manifest the New York Times bestseller. That's been on my vision board for 6 fucking years, by the way. So all the years prior, funnily enough, it actually wasn't on my vision board this year because I just released it because I wanted to be in motherhood so deeply. But for the prior X amount of years that I've been doing vision boards, about 6 years, I kind of looked at them. I looked at them in my Pinterest. I've had that on my vision board, right? So 2021, I didn't manifest it. Did it mean I failed? No. Would help if the book was finished being written and published, right? Couple things need to fall into place in order for you to become a New York Times bestseller. 2022, it didn't happen. 2023, it didn't happen. 2024, it didn't happen. 2025, it happened, right? But all those years prior, it didn't happen within the year, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I didn't make Forbes 30 under 30 this year. It doesn't mean I can't make Forbes 40 under 40 or Forbes 50 under 50. And it also made me realize like that shit really doesn't matter. Like if I got it, like I got New York Times bestseller, that wasn't my biggest win of the year. My biggest win of the year was truly the birth of my son and this incredible experience of motherhood. Like that is my win of the year. When I think about like, how do I want to feel at the end of 2026? Like what would make this year feel like such a huge success? And it's actually my word also of the year. And so ask yourself that question of at the end of this year, if I'm looking back on 2026, how do I want to feel at the end of this year? And what you'll realize is that it's probably not, oh, I need all of these like, external accolades and validation, and the more badges I have next to my name, like the better I'm going to feel about myself. Because if you have all those badges, but you're still unhappy in your love life, you're still struggling in your relationship, you still haven't conceived the child that you want to conceive, you are still struggling in your friendships and your money mindset and whatever else, like it's not going to make you feel the way that you actually want to feel. That is why I'm very big on when it comes to building your dream life, you've got to have a holistic approach. If you are killing it in your career, which I know you are, if you're killing it in your career, you are becoming a thought leader, you're an executive, or you're a CEO, or you're a founder, or you're growing your business, or whatever it is, but your relationship is down the toilet, you aren't actually deeply happy. You aren't then in the vibrational frequency that is required for you to manifest your next level, because there is stuff in your life that is misaligned, that is draining your energy, that is lowering your vibrational frequency. So it's all well and good for us to all be striving after all of these career goals. But if simultaneously you have raging migraines, you're bloated all the time, you feel shit in your body, you are the one leading and being the man in your relationship, you resent your partner because you're the breadwinner, you have no time to be with your children and you want to be, or you have been trying for years to conceive, and because you're so in your masculine, you, amongst other reasons, I got a whole episode on that, of the energetic reasons why you might be struggling with conception, you haven't then conceived. That career success is not going to give you that wholesome, full body, joyous, like deep sense of happiness that you're actually wanting. And so on that note, make sure this year you are not just investing in your career and your personal growth, but also all the other areas of life. Her year, we touch on we go deep into, I should say, every single area of life, because when you go deeper into every area of life, you're actually able to become her. If you're just focused on manifestation, you're doing it wrong. If you are obsessing about manifesting and not manifesting what you want, it's because you don't have a manifestation problem. Your relationship is down the toilet. Your health is absolutely horrendous. Your body is inflamed. Like that's the problem. You naturally will manifest the best year ever when your soul is happy, your body is happy, your mind is happy, you are living in alignment, and you actually feel in every area of your life happy, like that deep sense, almost that sense of like contentment, not in like a settling way, but like that deep contentment. Like contentment is actually a really nice feeling. When I think about my relationship right now with Hal, I'm like, I feel a deep sense of contentment, right? That can simultaneously be that I want things to continue to grow and evolve and get better and better. But like, that's a good feeling to have. It's like that deep contentment, that deep happiness, that deep fulfillment, So if you didn't get what you manifested in 2025, it doesn't mean that it's not coming. Put it back on your vision board this year. When I was making my vision board for this year, I went into my 2025 vision board, not just to repin the things that I didn't manifest this year that I want to manifest, but also to keep manifesting the things that I've already manifested. So like I've already manifested my dream relationship, but like you gotta keep putting in the work to continue to make it your dream relationship. So what is one of the things that I'm manifesting this year? My dream relationship, right? Because I want it to continue to be incredible. Or I am manifesting, I really do a very good job at like prioritizing, slowing down in the evenings. I make my tea. I've got my whole fucking routine. But guess what? There are pictures on my vision board of the herbal tea, which I also have right here, of course, the herbal tea and the like gua sha and whatever other like slow things, because I want to continue to embody that and keep that in my reticular activating system. Okay. So please remember, you didn't fail. Keep showing up, keep trying. And what got you here won't get you there. So you've got to keep doing something different. You've got to keep showing up differently and evolving. And like on that note, I'll do a podcast episode on this, but like an example of evolving is like we are really evolving the business this year. And that is hard. It is actually really fucking hard. It's really hard for the ego. I have run my business incredibly successfully for the last 8 years. And as I have stepped into motherhood and I have changed and my life has changed, my business is going to change. And that's really challenging. But I very much am a believer, because I have lived this and I embody it and I see it in myself and the success of my life and also of my clients. If you are serious about creating the life of your dreams, your only option is to trust your intuition. That's your only option. All right, let's dive into talking about, let's shift gears a little bit, the year of the horse and the fact that we have finished with the year of the snake. I know everyone's been kind of talking about it on Instagram, and majority of them are for ChatGPT, so they don't have the depth that I'm about to give you or the tangible action steps that I want you to think about in regards to this year. So let's kind of unpack it. Now, firstly, we are not just in the year of the horse, we are in the year of the fire horse, and it's also a year one in numerology. Now, first things first, the year of the fire horse has not started on whenever this episode comes out. It hasn't started yet. We're actually still in 2025. I know, I've just blown your mind. We are still in the previous year, which is really nice. If you feel like, oh, I've, woke up with a fucking fever on January 1 or whatever it is, or was congested as fuck on New Year's Day like I was. But the real new year actually starts on February 17th. That is when the year of the horse starts. So if you are like, oh, thank God, or you're like, I don't care, I've already done my New Year's resolutions, great, but use that energy anyway, use that momentum on the 17th of February. And on that note, if you have listened to this and you've missed out joining the New Year's Eve bundle, right, because we've already closed that, just send an email. We, of course, we're not going to say no to you. We want you to be obviously able to get the resource that you want to get. So flick us an email and we can backdoor you into that. Okay. So a year one is inherently masculine. And also when you think about the year of the fire horse, it is about initiation, momentum, forward direction, leadership, like really this movement forward. Okay. And a horse is powerful. It's fast. It's driven. It's bold. It's ambitious. It's like fucking dangerous. It's the energy of it is big and all consuming. Okay. And so then when you add fire to it, you get a year that if you are planning to be passive and just like all in your feminine flow this year, it's not really going to work very well for you. Let me just put it like that. Okay. Because of the elements that we're dealing with. All right. So this is not a year for you just like to float around and see what happens, or to just, I'm just going to take each day as it goes and just like, yes, trust your intuition, but in the sense of like having no masculine structure, no direction, no plan, no action steps, no discernment. Like you do not want to do that. I'm telling you that right now, ladies. And also just from the point of like, because this year is a year one, and that is inherently masculine, in order for you to be in your feminine and not default into your masculine, you actually need masculine structure. So if you are wanting to be more feminine this year, the way to do that is not to float around in floral dresses and bake muffins in the middle of the day. It's actually to anchor in with masculine structure so that your feminine feels safe to thrive. Masculine structure in business, in your career, in your professional life, but also in your home, in your relationships, in your personal life, in your routines, in your habits, in like your day-to-day experiences as a woman in a relationship or leading a family or as a single woman. That is the reason why I made her year to begin with, because I realized that in the industry, there's so much like feminine, 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 but really the way to be in your feminine, not in a cognitive sense, but in a really deeply embodied sense, is to have masculine structure. I said this like I sound like a broken record. Without the masculine structure, there cannot be the feminine. The feminine does not feel safe to thrive and be creative and be abundant and, be whimsical and to feel. And she will not be able to channel the ideas and come up with the wisdom and create like think of that creative idea that then makes you $1 million or gets you the promotion. She will not be able to think of that and come up with that, or not even think of it, have the download of it, I should say, unless there is masculine structure. And then when we think about the energy of this year, it's like, ooh, baby, we need masculine structure. So that's just another reason why everything inside of her year, it's just going to help you to make this year the best that it can be and to use the momentum of the energy that we are already feeling into for this year. Okay. So this is not a year that you want to wait around to feel ready. This is a year of action. This is a year of momentum. This is a year where, you're taking those micro steps because they build the momentum to then create the macro steps and the macro goals that you want. Okay. So please this year, do not mistake femininity for inaction. No, we are taking action this year and we can still be in our feminine, because if you don't mount the fucking horse, you are going to be dragged behind the horse. And so mounting the horse means that you need that masculine structure. If you don't have that masculine structure, if you don't lean into the masculine and how it can support you as a woman, then you will be dragged behind the horse, because the horse is going no matter what. So really you have two choices. Option number one is that you either get structure, get decisive, create direction, embody your leadership behind your desires. That's option number one, and feminine leadership, of course. And option number two, well, this isn't really an option. This is what's going to happen. Either that, or the intensity of this year is going to make things feel chaotic, overwhelming. You're going to be overstimulated, and you're going to feel fucking exhausted. So you want to make sure that you are getting the structure behind your personal life and your professional life to really help build the life that you want this year, and to ensure that you're actually getting what you desire. And feminine leadership is a really, really, really big part of what you need to embody this year. So even the Her Year girls from last year, embody everything that you stepped into in 2025 to support you through this year. Okay. Masculine containers are what is needed to ride the horse off into the sunset this year and not just feel like you've been trampled by the horse. Because everybody's on Instagram, if you had the year of the snake, if it was an unraveling and the 2025 felt like fucking shit and you died basically this year, that's okay, because the year of the horse, everything's going to get better this year. It's about momentum and action and blah, 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 as though you don't have to fucking do anything. No. And just like with the year of the snake, maybe 2025 was an absolute shit show for you, but everyone thinks the year of the snake is some negative, oh my God, I died, blah, blah, blah. But the people that use the year of the snake well, they transformed. So when I think of 2025, it was semi a hard year, I guess, because I had my baby and I literally transformed into motherhood. But I think about it and I'm well, it maybe was hard for my ego, but it wasn't that much of a hard year. It was just a very transformative year for me. I literally transformed. I at the beginning of the year, it was so much hard work to get to that New York Times bestseller. We got the New York Times bestseller. Then I had my baby. I literally transformed. I came back from maternity leave. What was working previously, I could have kept pushing and that would have killed me. So that it would have been like the year of the snake that everyone else is like, oh my God, I died. But I didn't. I changed. I evolved. I transformed. So I used the year of the snake and the year 9 to really like let go. That was last year was the last chapter of previous me. Like I really feel like 2025 and that year 9, like, wow, that was truly a closing of a chapter. Like that's very synchronistic of like me having my child into year 9 and blah, 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 like very synchronistic. And so now next year or this year, that's why this year is also looking so different, because I've actually used the year of the snake and I'm using the year of the horse properly. And so another example with like the year of the horse is like, we didn't just, Hal and I didn't just sit down and write down these big goals and like, all right, fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. It's then taking those big goals and turning them into micro actions. And for example, a micro action can be like literally taking supplements or getting a blood test, like that microscopic I'm talking about. That is what you need to be doing this year to make the most of the year of the horse. So let me give you a few examples even of just very simple masculine energy that you can be bringing into your life right now and throughout the year to give yourself that support during this year of the horse. Like number 1, deciding what you actually want instead of intuitively feeling what you want and then just fucking circling around it and procrastinating on it. Like that would have been so much easier for me to do this year, where I know what I want to change in the business, but just going like, but when, like that's easier. It's easier because it doesn't feel as scary. It doesn't feel as vulnerable. It's not as hard for my ego. It doesn't feel like such a risk. But that's not going to actually then get you the year that you want, and you're not using the year of the horse. If I did that this year would be horrendous, because what I'm doing is I am just listening to my ego. I am staying in the past. I'm not using that year 1 energy, and I'm not trusting the boldness and the momentum and the drive of that horse energy. So another example of what this year is asking for you to do in like a tangible step is committing to whatever it is, instead of just like being in this energy of considering it. So you're committing to taking those supplements rather than just like, oh yeah, I should take my supplements, like as a thought. Like, no, you're committed to doing it and you're showing up with that. You are really embodying feminine leadership. You are leading yourself instead of outsourcing your power and your direction to others. I've done a ton of videos on this. You are not outsourcing your power, your voice, your confidence, or anything like that this year. Okay, so you're leading yourself instead. And then another example is building systems in your personal life and also in your home life and in your professional life and your home life and your personal life, building systems that are really going to support you to hold your energy, to feel held, to support your nervous system, your feminine essence and all of that, instead of draining it. Especially if you feel tired going into this year, you're going to feel even more exhausted by the end of this year if you don't lean on the masculine systems. And once again, this is why her year exists, because it's not about hustling or chasing or exhausting yourself trying to do it all, because we can do it all as women, but we need to be more strategic about the way that we're doing it. We need to use more masculine in order to be able to be the mom that we want, the CEO that we want, the career woman that we want, the hot and healthy woman that we want, to have the body that we want, to be the lover that we want. Like, we can do all of that. We need to get out of this idea that if one area of my life is thriving, then I have to sacrifice another area of my life. Like, we actually can do it all, but we need to have the system to support the structure to actually be able to do it. And that is what you're going to be getting, plus a whole load more inside of her year. Trust me when I say, like, read the testimonials. And if you are serious about using this year and not just letting another year go by where at the end of this year, it's like, oh, well, I'm just the same version of myself and nothing has changed, and you don't really feel proud of things this year and you just feel like you're wasting time, then you need to be in this container. And I want to read you an email that I actually got the other day from Jordan, who was in her year 2025. I want to read what she said to me. So she kind of gave me a little intro. She was setting the scene, and she said, anywho, her year. After hiring a business coach for $16,000 last year and them doing nothing for me, I was hesitant to invest in this program. However, I knew it was the perfect one, as I definitely needed a long-term program. Too much on the schedule for short-term programs. That's why we're doing long-term this year. And it covers a variety of topics. Some intentions I had for myself was to bring more balance into my life, allow myself to step more into my feminine, and help Jared step more into his masculine with me as the breadwinner, and to really establish some habits for me. Oh, and to fall pregnant with ease. I don't want to give you a spoiler alert. Let's go through a few wins from intentions set, big and small, because honestly, I've learned that they're all big and compound. Traveling almost monthly, matched my previous year's income whilst working less, fell pregnant with ease, 1 month of intentional trying in the month that I wanted, which was May. Pregnant at Christmas with a beautiful bump, relatively easy pregnancy with minimal symptoms and no stretch marks thus far. Established a dry brushing routine and facial cupping. I do one or the other daily and have for 6+ months, even while traveling. More discipline with workouts and using the black pole to just get them done because I know how much better I'll feel. As a double self-employed person with no maternity leave, I saved over $100,000 to allow us to have 6 months of maternity leave without financial worry. Like, oh yes. Was the second highest earning dentist in my new practice of 8 dentists, created my own personal email list and streamlined systems for our business, more time in the kitchen with family and enjoying with friends, switched accountants, blah, 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 started investing aside from savings and maternity leave and creating payments toward the house that we bought. I had my husband fully take over the finances and trusted him to do so. We also completed our taxes before Christmas for next year so I can be in complete ease in January with baby boy on his way. Like that right there is masculine structure. Built our dream nursery. I'm sure I've missed some things in that list, but upon thinking about it, I love the variety of what I've accomplished and just the overall shifts in my life. It's not all business, not all personal, and not all health related, but just well-rounded growth. Really looking forward to the motherhood container and settling into that phase of my life with your help and guidance. It's been really fun to have a mentor who is 3 steps ahead of me in life, goals, marriage, kids. So I know this will be super supportive. Love to you both. She sent it to me and Olivia. Thank you for being 2 of the great women in my life. We need these people. Kiss, kiss. So if that doesn't tell you I need to fucking join, then I don't really know what will. She's not the only one that has said this about this program or this experience, this container, I should say. You will not actually be able to go through the amount of testimonials on the website page because there are that many. There are written ones, there are screenshot ones. You can go to my highlights on my Instagram. There is a absolute treasure chest of them. So if you are still sitting on the fence, if you're still wondering, should I not, blah, 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 you've got to trust your intuition. If you're still thinking about it, that is telling you you need to join it. If you thought about it, then forgot about it, then obviously like maybe don't join. But if you're still thinking about it, you absolutely need to join. And if you have a few questions, you're sitting on the fence, you need a little bit of an oomph, you can watch the open house that I recently did. We'll put the link below for the open house. You can tune into that to feel into it. But remember, this is the year of trusting your intuition. If you are serious about living the life of your dreams, your ego has no place in those decisions because that is coming from your comfort zone. The only option is to trust your intuition. Okay, I hope this episode was so helpful for you guys. I will see you all next week. If you haven't left a review of the podcast, please make sure that you do, as they really, really help people to find every one of our episodes and for them to also be supported. That is your way of paying it forward. Of course, sharing it on your Instagram stories and whatnot is also really, really helpful to us, and it means the world. And yeah, thank you for being an incredible listener, and we'll see you next week.